If you remember back in 2021, Kamala Harris was put in charge of the border crisis, and immediately she started saying that we need to address the root causes of illegal immigration into the U.S.
The root causes.
I mean, I thought it was useless, of course, but it is worse than useless. It's crazy. This just blew me away. I did not realize how bad their policy on this really was. The Great Replacement.
Mr. Reagan.
All right, be sure to grab my Fight merch, now available at my Teespring store.
I raised my right arm and started shouting, "Fight, fight, fight."
This is a moment that will go down in history, and I want to commemorate it, so grab a mug or a t-shirt or a towel or whatever. And remember, fight. All right, let's get into the video. So apparently, a Biden administration official has finally admitted in an undercover video that the goal of mass immigration is to completely transform the demographic makeup of the United States of America. The goal is to turn America into a country of predominantly Democrat voters, to make white people the minority. And what's more, this guy also exposed Kamala Harris's root causes strategy, and let me tell you, it is far worse than you could have possibly imagined. We will get into all of this in one moment. First, of course, I have to tell you something. It turns out that the key to losing weight and keeping it off is not in carbs or fats or even probiotic-rich foods. No, the end game of having a healthy weight, as well as more energy and a long, healthy life, comes down to a specific switch that you can flip in your body to flush out unnecessary calories. Dr. Stephen Gundry is calling this caloric bypass. And by activating this specific process in your body, he has seen thousands of people dramatically improve their health, even at age 50 and beyond. This includes losing weight, getting tons more energy, and returning to the good health they had in their youth once they simply address this one key to better health. Not only that, this is actually associated with improved digestion, strong feeling joints and muscles, smoother skin, and healthier lives, meaning it can be the key to a happy life. Dr. Stephen Gundry has lost 70 pounds himself using his research, and he's kept the weight off for over 20 years and counting. His digestive issues are gone, his health is fantastic, and he feels younger and healthier today than he did in his 40s. His video has been watched by over 20 million people to date, and you can watch and learn about it at thehealthyfat.com/Reagan. It's linked in the bottom of this video, and he'll teach you exactly how he has kept the weight off for free at thehealthyfat.com/Reagan. Click on the link in the description below. So for years, any American with their eyes open has figured out that the demographics in America have been quickly changing, and that the Democrats have been very happy about this. Democrats, of course, call us racist for noticing this, but it is a real phenomenon. And in this undercover video, we've got confirmation of everything that we've been warning Americans about for years. But before we get into that part of the undercover video, I want to discuss the Biden administration's strategy for tackling the immigration crisis, because this just blew me away. I did not realize how bad their policy on this really was. I mean, I thought it was useless, of course, but it is worse than useless. It's crazy. So look, if you remember back in 2021, Kamala Harris was put in charge of the border crisis, and immediately she started saying that we need to address the root causes of illegal immigration into the U.S.
We have to address the root causes. I'd
always assumed that the root causes thing was simply code for do nothing. Kamala meets with foreign leaders. She discusses why people from their countries might be, illegally crossing over into America, and then she literally does nothing about it. But it is far worse than this. What Kamala Harris and the Biden administration have figured is that the reason people are immigrating here illegally is that they're poor. They're coming from poor countries. So if we just make those countries richer, well, then people won't come here, right? So what they've done is they've just given these countries billions of dollars of our taxpayer money.
It's called the root causes strategy.
Ooh,
It's giving money to support and help people at where the origins of the migrants are, so they feel like they can stay there instead of migrating out. So it's Central America, basically.
It's what?
It's basically Central America, right. Support and development.
Oh.
So we poured a lot of money into Central America.
Like how much?
$4 billion over 4 years.
Oh. It's like a lot of money for those places.
It's a lot of money.
Is it doing anything?
I think for them, yes, but now migrants are coming from elsewhere.
Right.
Like Venezuela, so we're like, oh, this didn't solve that problem.
Oh, no.
That looks bad for the administration, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it looks bad for any administration because no one sells migration. It's like the end all be all, like kill pill for politics.
Right. And I feel like if anything, the other side's going to win because of it.
I know. My dad used to complain about that. I'm like, oh, and like in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's not that much. And then I see the chart, I'm like, oh, that's a lot. Like compared to like 20 years ago. I was like, oh wait, they're on to something.
And I don't know what to say to that.
I really don't. I literally don't know.
The root causes strategy is just give South America money.
The root causes are based on the problems and the challenges that people are facing in countries like Guatemala, which is why I was there and why I've spent time there. I know our capacity to give people hope in that region, in particular those 3 countries in Central America. And I have no question in my mind that the work that we have done, including the agreements that I've announced today, is going to have a very positive impact. It may not be evidenced overnight, but it will have a positive impact. We have to address the root causes of why they are fleeing.
This is the dumbest thing that I have ever heard in my life. These are the people that run our country. They think that giving the governments of poor countries, giving them money is going to stop their people from illegally immigrating here. First of all, as the guy said, even if they're able to do this, that doesn't stop poor people from other countries, under other regions of the world coming here. And so now you've got this perpetually ridiculous game of whack-a-mole, which goes on in perpetuity, right? But before we even get there, they're giving money to governments that have mismanaged their economies to such a degree that they actually have a significant percentage of their population who are impoverished, right? They're so impoverished that they are desperately trying to leave the country and cross illegally into America. Why would the Biden administration think that these governments are going to effectively utilize this money? They won't, obviously. I mean, most likely they're going to steal it. That's almost for sure what's happening to that money. And look, I have no evidence for this, but I would guess, since this seems to be what's happening with every other completely ineffective, massive government expenditure, that most of the money is stolen by politicians here in the United States, bureaucrats here. I mean, obviously, a lot of the money is going to be stolen by the foreign bureaucrats, foreign leaders, but I think a lot of it probably goes back into the pockets of U.S. politicians and corrupt bureaucrats here.
New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez pleaded not guilty Wednesday to federal charges of bribery, extortion, and fraud. He's accused of using his position as senator to benefit 3 businessmen and the Egyptian government in exchange for money. You'll recall investigators discovered gold bars and $480,000 in cash at his home.
Menendez and his wife allegedly accepted bribes in the form of nearly $500,000 in cash, found in pockets of a coat bearing his name, over $100,000 in gold bars, and a $60,000 Mercedes convertible, in exchange for his efforts to direct federal aid and weapons sales to Egypt.
The Democrat from New Jersey was found guilty on all 16 counts in his federal corruption case.
And so, you know what? This is actually great for greedy, power-hungry, corrupt Democrat politicians. They can steal taxpayer money and they can flood the country with future Democrat voters all at the same time. All right, so let's get into this idea of the Great Replacement, as they call it. It is speculated that white Americans will be eclipsed by other racial categories by 2045. As this demographic shift will necessarily mean accompanying political and cultural shifts, it has been praised by those who hate traditional American culture and values and conservative political policies, and it has been decried by those of us who treasure American culture and values and conservative political policies. But in the typical leftist way, Democrats have effectively twisted the conservative position, characterizing it as racist and xenophobic. While cheering on these demographic shifts, they have at the same time condemned any politically conservative Americans' recognition of the same phenomenon as racist. If they observe the phenomenon, it's okay because they like the black and brown people. But if we notice it, it's racist because we're evil bigots. But demographic replacement is a real phenomenon, and it's very obvious that Democrats are cheering it on. They're not even hiding it.
Blue wave is African American. Yeah! It's white, it's Latino, it's Asian Pacific Islander. It is made up of those who've been told that they are not worthy of being here. Yeah! It is comprised of those those who are documented and undocumented.
In a couple of presidential cycles, you'll be on election night. You'll be announcing that we're calling the 38 electoral votes of Texas for the Democratic nominee for president. It's changing. It's going to become a purple state and then a blue state because of the demographics.
The demographics of America are not on the side of the Republican Party. The new voters in this country are moving away from them, and instead they're moving to be independents or to even vote on the other side.
An unrelenting stream of immigration, non-stop. Folks like me who were Caucasian of European descent, for the first time in 2017, will be in an absolute minority in the United States of America. Absolute minority. Fewer than 50% of the people in America from then and on will be white European stock. That's not a bad thing. That's a source of our strength.
Virtually every media figure on the left has been bragging about this for decades. Oh, it's a conspiracy theory. Really? Well, here's Anna Navarro from her time as a Harvard fellow. This is what she wrote, quote, "The demographic trends show that the minority vote in the United States will continue to grow in numbers and influence. Unless you're under the influence of hallucinogens, it is hard to imagine future scenarios where the Republican Party can win national elections." That piece, by the way, is called "Old White Straight Male Voters Ain't What They Used to Be," end quote. Here's a Politico piece from 2013. We could go on for hours, by the way, but here's this, quote, "Immigration reform could be a bonanza for Democrats. The Democratic Party," the piece said, are, quote, "pumping as many as 11 million new Hispanic voters into the electorate a decade from now in ways that could produce an electoral bonanza for Democrats and cripple Republican prospects in many states they now win easily," end quote. Here's another example, also from 2013. The Center for American Progress announced that, quote, "supporting real immigration reform that contains a pathway to citizenship for our nation's 11 million undocumented immigrants is the only way to maintain electoral strength in the future." These people are lunatics. In 2018, the New York Times published an editorial called "We Can Replace Them." Just in case subtlety is not your thing. Quote, "Right now, America is tearing itself apart as an embittered white conservative minority clings to power, terrified of being swamped by a new multiracial polyglot majority." Right, okay. In 2020, Joe Scarborough, a real moral voice over at MSNBC, quoted this: "Trumpism accelerated damage done by demographic changes and will harm Republicans for years. Demographics is destiny," end quote. Are you allowed to say that? The great replacement theory is coming from the left. They don't think it's a theory, they think it's real. In 2021, the Washington Post's Jen Rubin celebrated a report that the number of white people in this country was declining. Can you even imagine? Quote, "This is fabulous news," she wrote. "Now we need to prevent minority white rule." My God, talking like that. Is there any more divisive thing you could write? We could give you a million more examples. We're offended by this because it's wrong, and we've said so. But for saying so, according to Carl Cameron on MSNBC today, we should be thrown in jail. Watch.
You got to watch out because the Republicans have become the purveyors of misinformation. And when our two-party system is broken like that, democracy is seriously in trouble. The president acknowledged that. It's time to actually start doing things and maybe taking some names and putting people in jail.
Maybe taking some names and putting people in jail. Who would those people be? Well, thanks to the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer of New York, we now know. Schumer just sent a letter to our bosses here at Fox News blaming this show for the mass murder in Buffalo, as well as several other mass shootings in recent years. According to Chuck Schumer, this show spreads, quote, "dangerous rhetoric and needs to be pulled off the air immediately in the name of public safety." Now, again, Chuck Schumer is a federal official. He is the leading Democrat in the United States Senate. And he is calling for media censorship. Now, there was a time, like maybe 18 months ago, and that would be considered a direct violation of the First Amendment. Now, we hear it every day. Let's throw them in jail.
While leftists pretend to love black people and brown people, as they like to call them, and while they pretend to love different cultures and revere non-Christian faiths, what they really love is political power. And while I do think that there is a lot of hatred of white Americans and traditional values among leftists, I do believe that their primary motivation is power. And what is particularly sinister about this is that we're not just replacing white Americans with good people, good foreigners, with, just a different race and culture, but they're good people. No, we are replacing white Americans with some of the worst people from around the globe. You just have to look into the recent rash of extremely violent crime committed by illegal immigrants to understand what I'm talking about here. And this was all confirmed the other day by this undercover reporting.
I wish people knew that we're letting in criminals daily. Like when I was in, you have confirmation of that. You have confirmation? Oh yeah. So all the good, honest, hardworking Mexicans stay in Mexico, and all the pieces of garbage come to the United States. And those are the ones that we let. We are literally, and the Mexican government has no reason to stop it because their garbage goes to another country and then sends money back to them. Like imagine if the worst of the worst, if all the criminals in the United States were all going to Canada and sending back billions of dollars a year. Why would you stop that? I wouldn't even change the numbers of, like, if we let in 100,000 Mexicans a year, I'm like, let in 100,000 Mexicans a year, just change the quality of the applicant. Make the, say 100,000 Mexicans, but you can't have been in the U.S. illegally, and you can't have a criminal record. So what is the end goal? Why are they allowing it? Truly, they want to change the demographics of the United States. They really do. Because, I mean, no, honestly, the people from Nebraska, like my family's like Americans that have, my family's been in the United States for 400 years. Traditional standard Americans are not leftists. Latin Americans all leftists. And it's just, it literally is. It's just to try to change that.
It's just as Donald Trump said. They're not sending their best.
They're not sending their best.
Well, that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Check out my new Trump mug and t-shirt designs on my merch store. And remember, it's not that all liberal friends are ignorant. It's just they know so much that is not so. Good night.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars. And it's been said if we lose that war, and in so doing lose this way of freedom of ours, history will record with the greatest astonishment that those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.